action, as they say.
Action. I don't have a script. What happened? You're a shoddy director. I have no script.
The script is just you, the improv, the dad jokes. No, it's funny.
God.
Although it does feel like we're more off script than the Discovery and Picard stuff. Even though we're now more on script because we've got something to look at. It's like this is more free almost. It's like here we are, just
Ta-da.
looking at TNG.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
How many comments we got last week saying, when are you guys going to go back to TNG reviews?
I shouldn't see that many, which I was kind of glad to see, but I guess you
I
saw
saw quite a few.
uh, even though 500 people turn up for the Picard stuff and we get 150 here, it's like, well, I mean, there's a reason we do both. But yeah, it's Tuesday, first day both around. You had family holiday stuff yesterday, and I just didn't do a live. It was great. I was able to keep working right until the evening. It was great. And then you're not around tomorrow. I'm going to go see a friend tomorrow night. So, oh my goodness, there's some real life. Holy, whoa.
Yeah, and then Thursday we'll be doing another live, possibly Friday as well. No, you can't. You're not.
You might
you're not
possibly
gonna be
doing a
here.
Friday live.
I might be doing a Friday live sometime. And then yeah, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday I leave for the UK already. Like a week tomorrow. Oh my god.
Oh, right. I got to make some prints tomorrow, then, haven't I? Huh. Oh, dear. Oh! That's the problem with so many projects. They each have a deadline. It's like, yeah, but then all the deadlines sort of coexist, and it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we got two super chats already. So let's get those.
Yes.
Ooh. Judge, 1981. Nice
Hi,
to see you, Judge. Puts in $2. Welcome back. Happy Thanksgiving, Captain. Thank you very much. It was a good Thanksgiving weekend. So, Thomas Potts throws in $1.99. Says, I didn't like for this episode that much. I didn't care for this episode that much. Yeah, it's not. It's not really one that sticks out to me either. So, but thank you guys.
Yeah, so I will share this while you chat to the peeps.
I can do that.
While we get some people there slowly trickling in. So I'll see you in a minute.
Yes. All right, so today, guys, we're going to be talking about the outrageous Okuna. Okuna Matata, such a wonderful guy. Okuna Matata, ain't no special. Don't know. Just super chat, guys. If you want to an episode, you want a question answered, comment read, whatever. You know the routine. Super chats are important. Great way to help the channel, help us out, and help yourself out as well. Get your voice heard and become a part of this awesome community. And yeah, other ways to help us. One of the best ways is Patreon. We are going to be working on some cool Patreon goodies for you guys so that you can up your Patreon pledges and get some cool Patreon perks if I don't die. But yeah, that's probably going to start in November, maybe. I think November. So if you do have a Patreon, you might want to consider upping it to one of the next tiers so you get some of the cool bonus goodies we're going to be giving out for that. So yeah, also the Teespring store down there. And if you like ships, which you should, because ships are awesome, we also have oh my god, how come it's only when I start talking at the end of the day that this happens? All day I'm fine. But anyway, Eagle Moss, use the link down below. Go pick out some stuff, put it in your cart, and just use the checkout code TrekYards or the discount code TrekYards when you check out, and you get some cool goodies. So Jarzia, I drove through Hamilton on Sunday to go to Toronto. So I thought of you as I was coming down the where my ears popped. Anyway, hi Jarzia. $5. Random Trek trivia. The escape pod hatches on the Enterprise E corridors were made by using a Chevy Camaro hood as a mold. Were they? Because I always thought they looked like the bottom of jet skis. But now that you said that, I can totally see that. Interesting. Super chat to get Captain Foley some water for his cough. Yes. Every time I see Bill Campbell, I think of The Rocketeer, as you should. He is an awesome actor. I don't know why he hasn't got more work. I simply love The Rocketeer. Well, my Rocketeer figure's upstairs, but yeah, I loved him in The Rocketeer. I thought he was great. So, DGR Blue 4 puts in $2. Is the guy who is in Running to be Riker? Yes, he was in the Running to be Riker, and I think Gene Roddenberry wanted him to be Riker, but he got nudged out by Jonathan Frakes. So, but he's back to be the Outrageous Okuna.
Frakes is more well-rounded as a personality, although this is him playing a type, but I feel like he would have played to this too much. Would have been a bit,
And you missed my song.
Oh, wow.
What's the Outrageous Okuna, right? Akuna Matata. He's such a wonderful guy.
Lay.
Uh-huh.
Close enough.
Fat Produce puts in $2.
Thank you.
Rocket-who? The Rocketeer, man. He is the Rocketeer, and he's awesome. Fleet Paws Footpack puts in $1.99. Give Foley some Halls cough drops. #leg spike. Ooh, yeah, I should tell Sylvia to pick some up for me.
You know what's funny, Stuart? I always get ill, and I got a cold now. Yay. I'm glad it wasn't last week, though, because that would have been sucky for all the filmings. The amount of your coughs edited out of the show, out of the 20, well...
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Separate tracks makes it very doable. It's just... There you go. No, although I've got a bit of snivel, bit of cough, bit of sore throat, bit of phlegm, but nothing's huge. It's a weird, everything at one time. Real weird. It's a confusing one. But I've got a week to go over it, so it's fine.
I think I'm getting sick. Actually, the last 2 days I felt like absolute ass when I got out of bed. And I think that might be because London Comic-Con, shaking a lot of hands and handling people's phones to get pictures of them in the captain's chair. Anyway, better get sick now than in a week. So,
build the immune system and make yourself, and then you can just sleep on the plane and then not get all those plane jams.
I don't really sleep on planes. I find it very difficult.
Well, this is the longest plane you've already ever been on, so you'll wait and see. Oh, there is a certain insomnia factor, because you've got a very long day on Thursday when you get in, a long day, where you still.
I'm used to that though.
Yeah, but then Friday we got a long day, so you're gonna have to make yourself sleep on the plane. That's gonna be real important to help. That's kind of the joy of having the plane you have, is that if you can just pass out, then it actually resets you nicely. On this real life episode of Trek Yards.
Well, I didn't take a lot of notes for this one. Honestly,
I took 3 pages almost.
Oh God, I didn't take very many notes. Not as many as I usually do. So anyway, David Stelzer puts in $2. He's also Bruce Campbell's second cousin. I was wondering about that. There you go. Fat Produce puts in $5. I love The Rocketeer. It was a perfect mix of Indiana Jones and superhero movies. James Horner's musical score really held the movie together. The musical score is absolutely fantastic. I love the retro-y 1940s designs, and there's very cool stuff in that movie. Absolutely. I have the soundtrack on my phone, so... Sylvia's going to pick some hauls up for me on the way home, guys, just so you know. Because she gave Sabrina her last hauls. You don't care. Judge 1981 puts in $2. Track yards, catch the sickness. I don't know if that's a compliment or like, y'all got any more of them Track Yards episodes? But,
well, maybe people have got the addiction to so many episodes last week that you can imagine if you're expecting 1 or 2 a week, 1 or 2 a day, it's like, where's the Trek Yards? Oh, they did do our last one today of the Discovery and Picard review was actually today. So there you go, last video of the season for that trailer. Yeah, that was good.
All right. Brian Kesterson says, glad she's watching out for you, Cap. Well, that's what she does the best. She's awesome. All right, so 86 you hear. Everybody hit like. Let's get those likes up. Let's get to 50 right away.
It's
that should
important.
be easy.
It's legit important. But so Stuart.
Yes, dear.
Season 2, episode 4, the Outrageous Okuna by Tata. What was your overall short form thoughts about this episode?
Ultimately forgettable. I think that the episode name, the Outrageous Okuna, I always think the Outrageous Okuda.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I think of this episode, and I gotta like mentally correct myself to say Okuna. But I also liken it to the comedian, because like, oh, he's outrageous, he's funny. So I always associate this title with that part of this episode, but never this.
Okay.
It doesn't feel like it's the same thing. Ultimately, like I said, forgettable. Not really, it's necessarily good Trek, just a tale as old as time. It's been told many times, this kind of thing, warring planets or cities or states or factions where there's love interest, and it's a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing, and it's just, yeah.
Well, on that specific point, I've said lots of times, as you know, that the best Trek story is a good story that happens to be based in the Trek universe. So I was thinking the whole time this is a great Trek story because Picard deals with everything with words, and he's so thoughtful, and everyone's measured, and they do it negotiatingly, and try and help each other. And it's very, this is very much the TNG future of positivity. So I thought it was a very Trek story in that respect. It just happened to be a story, but the Trek universe sort of embraced it wholeheartedly, and we got to see, they're doing sort of the right thing the right way. Yay, Trek,
Yeah. Well, he reminds me a lot of Lone Star from Spaceballs. I mean, he's got a lot of things in common with him. A lot of people call him the poor man's like Han Solo. You kind of get that kind of thing. He is so likable and nice. He's just such a great guy. It's like, is there anything bad about this guy?
Well, it's also interesting that he's very much Han Solo. I mean, very, very much Han Solo, just without the same cockiness. Because this guy, you think he's going to be one thing, and he stays incredibly mellow the whole episode. He doesn't ever become too obnoxious or too jerky. He stays at a very consistent. Yeah, he's a bit of a flirt, but the girls are very clearly okay with it, and he also knows how to play what they want to hear. But that's also like, he knows how it can work if everyone's consenting, which obviously they are, and then just everyone likes him, and everyone. I was kind of expecting this kind of a little bit of a whatever. When he was engineering, after he got found out that he was, I mean, saying he stole something should make him some level of concern. I was expecting Geordie and Wesley in the engineering to be like more cold towards him, but they're still friendly, even though he's now theoretically a, adulterer and, whatever. But I was like, oh, I guess they can't not like him. He's just treads that balance so well. I knew enough about the episode to remember him, but not anything about beyond his clichéness. And I was like, oh, he is actually the good guy at the end. Actually, it's weird. Good for him.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the reviewness of it before I jump on mine?
The reviewness. What do you mean?
I mean, you were finishing off your short review, and then I sort of jumped in with the Trek story.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, it just, as I said, ultimately forgettable. One I could never watch again and be fine with. I mean, there's a few good Data and Guinan moments, but I really like the character of Okuna, though. He's a cool guy. He should have got his own like show. That would have been neat. And yeah, what could have been if he was Riker? So I don't know. I it's fine. It's kind of guess where my rating's gonna sit when we get there, but
yeah,
it's fine.
But obviously you don't like love story episodes anyway. Any time. So if the fact this all comes around to that, you'd be like, well, I want the blowy uppy, the shooty, or the sciencey random. You don't want the people talking about love. It's not a bad thing. Like that's up to you. I thought this was an interesting mixed bag. It both knows what it wants to be, but then has identity crises. In the sense that it sort of starts, and it reminded me of when they met the drug people in the ship, and Kirk-san's like, hey, could you help me out, man? Because this guy's similar, but he's got more cognizant. You think, oh, he's up something, and he was born. It's totally genuine, and he does flirty, which is a bit too 80s, but it's also not. Whatever. It is what it is. And then the episode kind of stays on that tone for like 15 minutes, but nothing's actually happened yet. And you're thinking, well, we sort of skipped to the middle without actually having the plot happen. Then the people show up and then it escalates, and it keeps escalating. And then this little data plot, which feels natural at the start, but then it jumps back to him as soon as they escalate to we know who his son is, and then it jumps to Data for like 7 minutes. You're like, the hell is this doing here? I completely forgot Data's subplot, and then it felt completely just stupidly out of place. There's like, what the hell? Like, they had not enough plot for the A story, and the B story they forgot exists. Like, once they get to that bit, it's like, oh, the Okuda's pretty interesting if simple. Why the hell is Data here? Oh wait, Data's pretty interesting. Wait, why about? Oh, this other thing's really serious. Why? Then the juxtaposition kind of ruins it a little bit. Yeah. But also, I think the script's actually really rather good. It's intelligent. It knows what it's doing. Guinan's great.
Yeah, she is.
And the fact, and I love, and this is one of my later notes, that Data and Guinan are like a house on fire, in the sense that she loves all identities, all life forms, and she gets. I'm sure maybe on her planet they had androids. You kind of get that sense that he's just a dude to her, which he is to us as well. But then you counteract her new appearance with Pulaski, who very like, he's just a machine. And you look at how you just happen to swap out the guest star for the episode, and it's like the love factor you get for Data feels like season 6, feels like, So there's a lot of weird like juxtaposition-y things that yeah, I like it overall. I think the script's probably its best bit. But they either had to do just an A plot with more A plot, or re-edit it so that they don't conflict so much, or start the episode with a more interesting intro which isn't meandering. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the Okuda plot. Sorry, not Okuda, not Mike or Denise. What's the name? Okuna. It's the Okuna plot, then it swaps to be the Romeo and Juliet plot, then it swaps to be the comedy plot, then it swaps back to being the secret Romeo and Juliet plot, then it swaps back to being the comedy, then it swaps back to and it never really goes back to the Okuda plot. So, you know what I mean? It kind of forgets what it wants to be after it knows what it wants to be. That was quite a long intro, but I think it's a good episode, but it sort of has some conflicting qualities.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. 101 people watching, and it's not many likes, guys. Come on. Everybody, half of you hit like. Just let's get to 50 right off the hop.
Yes. And Robert Hayes says, is he into guys? Why would you care?
Yeah, why does it matter?
Didn't need to be into guys. There was a Vulcan lady that appeared in one scene. That would have been kind of fun if he like managed to woo a Vulcan. How satisfying a scene would that be if she was in the quarters dressed in whatever, and he's like, you'll always be the most logical woman I've ever met, and she's going to look like, that'd be a payoff. Shall we start then, Stuart?
Let's start, man. Let's start.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, before we start, though, Jeff Jacobs was in 252.
Yeah.
Almost in under 15. Again at 100. Hashtag Okuna like Spike.
Okuna like Spike. What a wonderful like.
Yes. All right. So we start off. It's Stardate something or other. They are near twin planets that form a coalition of Medina. And then they encounter a small Class 9 vessel, which is an interplanetary cargo ship with one life sign, armed with lasers only. I love that. That becomes a thing later. It's like they could shoot at it all day, lower the shields. They won't even get through our navigational deflector. And there's a good differentiation there between the navigational deflector that surrounds the whole ship and protects it from micro impacts, and then the shield system that's over top of that. So I love that. But that's later. So yeah, I mean, then we get introduced to Captain Okuna. Hellrats96 though puts in $5. Hey, look, it's Terry Hatcher. I once heard her tatas were real and spectacular. Joe Piscopo guest stars in this one also. Yes, he does.
Wow, the power of the super chats.
Yes, tatas. And Jarzia puts in $5 Canadian. Okuna, smoking a blunt. Hey, kid, want a whiff? Wes, I really shouldn't. Wes' brain. The hell, man. Mom is off the ship and Yara ain't here to lecture us about the bad things of drugs.
It's true, it was a good influence-ish, Okuna-ish. So this intro, first thing I thought was, boy, this first scene is amazingly grainy. Like, holy shit.
Yep.
Really bad. Because it sticks out more because the black L cars, you just see the only thing you see then is the grain. Very poorly restored this bit, or the film negatives, whatever. But I liked the new shot of the miniature. That was quite a nice motion track, although the miniature is boring as sin. It's the most like cargo shippy, crappy, you know what I mean? It's the most nothing shuttle. Although, you know, obviously you've got so many repeating parts. Like, I know the 3 engines are the same as many of the freighters and such. It's a good redress, though it's again boring. And I'm sure these are FTL capable ships. They say interplanetary, but they also say they're in your solar system, and then like it sort of implies their neighboring systems are close.
Yeah.
But then, you know, I wish these freighters had some warp engines sometimes. You know.
Yeah. Well, we can assume that some of the things that are on there are warp themselves, but.
And to be fair, they don't have to use warp. They could use some other FTL. To be fair, they're in warp.
There is no other FTL in Star Trek. Until there is. Which there isn't yet.
Yeah. And what did you think of Okuna's first appearance? Oh, you did the thing again with the framing, Stuart. You zoomed in again. God, you really need to pay attention more when you lose the top like 10% of the frame.
Well, I don't see the screen grabs when I'm getting them. They just show up in the corner and it looks fine. So
that's weird. Okay, well, yeah. What do you think when you first saw him then?
I thought I was watching a different movie or a different show. It felt like the Princess Bride kind of thing, you know, like a swashbuckling adventure, even a pirate thing. It felt off. I don't know. Something about this whole episode just feels a little to me.
Well, you're waiting for the payoff. But the payoff isn't about him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Where'd my notes go? No, they're there. What?
But yeah, and then I like how Okuda's like, you know, or Picard's like, oh, I see this thing's wrong, and he's like, well, I mean, if you guys know exactly what's wrong with the ship, can you help? Because, you know,
yeah,
you guys are real advanced, and I'm just a lowly traveler. I mean, can you help out, pal? And Picard's like, yes, sure, why not? We'll track you in. He's like, oh, sweet, thanks, man. But this, it doesn't feel as out of place conversationally as that other one did in season 1. This feels like this would happen all the damn time. They bump into people because of distress signals. They help them. They learn a bit, and they just have a chat. So it felt like this felt like a very, very, well, first it felt like a cheap episode to me personally because it was all a bottle show without any amazingly big setups. But it felt like a very like average day, and that was quite refreshing. I felt,
mm-hmm.
You know,
mm-hmm. Yeah. Judge 1981 puts in $5. He's a space trucker in a ship that he leased to own, and I bet he's great at the ship stops. Real Romeo.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, we find out that he's essentially just a rogue.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love how they say, you've burned out your navigation system. He's like, well, you know, you gotta know so much about my problems. Can you help me out? It was great.
Yeah.
And then they talk to the transporter chief or whoever's in the transporter bay at the time. And it's a female. And he's like, is that a female's voice? And it's like, okay. Just lonely in space, I guess.
Yeah, it was weird, but I assume if it takes like 6 weeks to go between planets, then he's like, I literally haven't. I love girls, and I haven't heard a girl's voice, and haven't heard a girl's voice in 6 weeks. I'm a bit lonely.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And he probably talks to himself, and he might like last like 2 missions, might just pick up cargo. So it's a very off place comment, but it does. You can logically make it make sense.
Especially when you see how he acts later, like towards the women.
Not rusty at all.
No, no. But he beams in and he's got his part with him, and like how Worf's like, "Hand me your weapons." So he hands him his belt, and it's like, no. Oh yeah, I got a kitchen knife with me too. It's not really a knife, you know. That was cool.
No,
Again,
yeah.
super friendly.
But it's also a fun scene. This is exactly how they would approach the normal situation. Although I felt like Transport Chief should have disabled the guns. Like, that's the first job. Especially they say later on, they got no weapons. But it's amazing how instantly Worf is properly utilised. Why wasn't Tasha doing this stuff? Like,
Yeah.
it boggles my mind. There's an obvious place for this sort of content. And while it's not pushing Worf's character much, although I think he manages to infuse these sorts of moments with him. You know, that bit of aggression, that bit of I'm doing my job. You know, you look at me. You know, that sort of fun sense. I like it.
Yeah, and I love how he is with Wesley too. Say something about a lieutenant commander, and he talks to Wesley instead of Data. And well, I'm just an ensign, sir. Well, even ensigns have names. Wesley. It's like he's just nice to everybody. I mean, it's awesome.
Oh, Dan23 says, I think that gun was a laser. Yeah, probably.
Maybe it could have been a projectile weapon as well. That's why it wasn't deactivated by the transporter. Not that it matters.
I'd buy it.
It matters because I mean, yeah, even if it was deactivated, you could probably reactivate it if you still had it with him.
Just
so
reload it.
Just being precautious. Yeah.
I'd buy that excuse for $1. Now, why did he ignore Data? Because that I thought would come into play, and he just ignores Data. I didn't understand.
I don't know. I didn't understand. I thought there'd be something said about that, but no. It just
doesn't even mean anything. Like, he talks to him as soon as they leave the room. I guess they did want to quicken up the episode. Maybe they skipped that in editing or something, even though there's like, oh.
It could have been a deleted scene or something.
That was just a bit weird.
But yeah, then he hits on the transporter chief, who's a young Terry Hatcher.
Lois from Lois and Clark.
Yeah, and she looks great. I love how she like rebuffs him at first, and then he keeps the charm on. And Riker's just back there like, this guy could have had my job. Yeah.
But my paycheck is bigger than his this week, so it's fine.
It's on my paycheck that's bigger.
My phaser too.
No, it's funny, but he's definitely a confidence. He's got a lot of confidence. He's somebody that's very sure of himself, which is it's a great character. It's a great character.
But it's not.
Sure.
It's also not. He's not confidence tricking people. It's not an act. He's just trying on. He's like a guy in a bar. There's nothing malicious. Like, I love the way she rebukes him. But he says, yeah, but it's not about the line. It's about not what I say. It's about that I think you're hot. I can see you think I'm hot. So is that not enough, Miss Lady Person, whoever your name is, Terry Hatchett? It's actually kind of nice that she, it's actually well played for especially the 80s. It's like she's a strong female as much as she wants to be, Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. But then he starts talking to Data out in the hallway. And Data says, I'm an android. I don't really know about the sexual attraction thing or whatever, because I'm an android. And he's like, well, then, have you seen any good-looking computers lately? And Data's like, that's a joke. It's funny.
I laughed at that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty good. But that sets up the whole I don't understand humor thing.
Yes.
So it's not really an A-B plot. It's all an A plot with
a
side little. It's an A point.
Well, it's an A split off into B. I mean, the B plot has nothing to do with the A plot once it splits off, so it doesn't ever come back. So it's definitely a B plot, but like it all,
Yeah, but usually B plots happen independently of what's going on, really. But anyway,
it's just better integrated.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Geordi was working on the thing. He replaces it with I didn't write down what the metal was, and the guy's like, "Well, that's not in our system. What if it breaks down? Trust me, this thing will last your ship." Is that a reference to my flying or my ship? So,
is that a floppy disk at the side of the machine? Because the little circle things with a floppy disk. They just stick a black floppy disk in.
I don't. Oh, it looks like it. Yeah, yeah, it does look like it. It does.
That's funny. No,
Um,
unlike this scene, I mean, this is padding because this is irrelevant, but it's good Trek, logical, methodical ABC thinking that I
yeah.
appreciate. That textures out the world, gives Geordie a good vibe, gives the guy a good. Because I like the fact the guy says, when Riker says, "Hey, we'll fix it. Go relax," and the guy's like, "Well, can I do it?" And he's like, "You don't know how." And he's like, "Well, can I watch?" Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Then I teach a man to fish. I can then learn maybe later. Uh, but I do think they ran out of plot. So because if it was a more if the story was first, it would be more like plot, 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 plot. But because you have these little meanders, it shows there's not a lot of plot, but you get the textural character stuff, which is fun. So it's kind
Hmm.
of a lose-lose in a sense. Because you say it's dull, because there's all these little bits. You watch and it's like, oh, this is just a good Geordie scene. That's just a good date. It's just, you know what I mean?
Well, as you said, it's kind of like an everyday kind of
Yeah,
episode, like a not anything special is going on kind of day.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
uh, sorry, I cut out there, I guess. But anyway,
That's okay.
Jaddock Productions puts in
Hey,
$2 Australian. My timing is digital. Yes, it is, and that is funny.
some good, decent jokes this time.
Yeah, I do like the just everyday routine. This is what we do on a daily basis kind of vibe to it. It feels like almost like Data's Day, where it's just a day in the life of.
Hmm.
And I really wish there was more of those in Star Trek because it's always so like focused on what's going on with the main command crew and stuff. It's like, what do you guys do in your downtime? Because there's a lot
Yep.
of downtime in space, you know. You see hints of it here and there, especially with Picard, like reading or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
because like, do you have an 8 hour shift in engineering that you just sit there and do nothing, or do you tinker with this part?
Hmm.
You know?
Well, that's what it felt. There's a couple of scenes where they keep going back to the bridge, and you can tell they're just the same day. They've just filmed. They said, right, skip to scene 32, right, 46. You know, that sort of thing. Where Riker
Yeah.
and Troy are both just sitting there, even though I realize Riker's a really busy guy. He deals with all the ship business. He hasn't got time to sit on the bridge waiting for nothing to happen. It's like, I mean, it also feels so redundant when, you know, literally at one point, Picard gives an order to Riker to do something that Worf should do, and then Riker does not tell Worf, yet Worf does it anyway, therefore making Riker redundant. But like Riker and Troy better think. I'm sure Troy has appointments for counselling. Like they don't need to be on the
Hmm.
bridge the whole
Hmm.
time. Give them something to do or don't. Um, you know what I mean? It felt a bit redundant. Although they were both useful, but still redundant at the same time. Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
We do see that interspersed throughout the series,
Hmm.
where she'll be having an appointment, or she's not always on the bridge, right? So
No, but
yeah,
she was always this situation.
yeah, yeah. Um,
But
so yeah, then he's
the Kira and
oh,
Data stuff is good because Data's a really good straight man.
yeah,
He plays it, and Brent playing Data playing a straight man. It's nuanced, and I think season one Data would have not, or season one Brent wouldn't better handle this sort of episode because he'd let his guard down too much. This one he really keeps that level, like on the tee, like right on the line, but he keeps it, and it's quite impressive considering they make him do stuff that isn't really in character because the character's trying to grow. You know?
yeah, yeah. No, the scenes with them are very, very good. I didn't write anything down for this particular one except for, well, he's got somewhere to be, and it's the transporter chief's room.
And she's much, much, much shorter than him.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
She's tiny.
And yeah, that's great. Anyway, I'm gonna move on from that.
Data's like,
Yeah.
and then he just goes. That's when Data's move. And I'll mention it in a little bit. But I've got something to say about this quarters. But yeah, back to engineering. More fixy fix, and then just what Riker just explains who he is, what he's about. And there you go.
Yeah.
Life lessons, because he's the mentor in this season, apparently.
Yeah. But then we get 10 forward.
Vulcan.
Vulcan, yes. And Data's trying to find out from Guinan what's funny is, and he goes through the dictionary. Because she asks him, what is funny? And he goes through the dictionary about meaning of it. And I love how she's like, "You're a droid, and I'm annoyed." At first, I was like, "It's funny because it rhymes," but the hell is she talking about? Then because she's a humanoid. Ah,
An
it's actually really good.
android. It's a bit because you think annoyed is it went above my head too. I bet it went ahead of most people, above most people's heads as well, because she says it's so deadpan.
Yep.
And you're like, well, it was a joke, I'm sure. How though?
And then she says, "You're a droid, and I'm annoyed." And he's like, "Ah, humanoid."
But it's like because we never call him we never call him a droid before, so your brain thinks,
Yeah.
why are you calling him a droid? You don't think android, you just think droid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, can you imagine Brent's? This is his first scene with her. Can you imagine Brent's excitement at this scene? It's a long scene, very intense, with Whoopi Goldberg, one of the biggest celebrities at the time, and it's all about him. He must have felt great on this day.
There I am. All right, cool. So he decides to go down to the holodeck, and he's going through different comedians, and one's got jokes on mathematical equations or whatever, and it's like, no, a little too specialized, you know.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't know why.
Huh.
What's funny?
Well, you know how they went ahead and updated all the El-Kazi stuff?
Yeah, all the names on there are from the credits.
Yeah, Douglas E. Graves is actually a model. Here is a model maker that worked on Battlestar Galactica, Blood and Chrome and stuff. His name's Deg, and he was at the Enterprise 1.5.
David Livingston, Wendy Nuez, they're all in the credits for. And Ronald D. Moore is the one that he actually selects. But I didn't get a screenshot of that.
That's okay. So. That's just funny. They retcon Deg that worked way later, way after this, into it. That's funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, picks a comedian, walks in. I like how the arch is so perfectly inside of a thing. That's funny.
Yeah, that is good.
So do you know who this man is?
Joe Piscopo. Yes, I do.
I think the problem with this scene is that if you don't know who he is, this dates so quickly. He's just some guy because he's not very funny. But they don't give him anything really funny to do, so he's just a guy with a bad haircut. At the time, he was like a celebrity. But it's like, yeah, but if you don't, he's just a guy. You know, I think comics are so like time based. Comedians don't tend to last 30, 40 years. But he fell not flat for me, but they didn't give anything funny to say. Really, like as soon as he went on stage with the impression of the guy, I'm like, what the hell is he doing? Why would you write this? This is what you wrote in a TNG episode. Are you kidding? That's your best thing. Jesus
That's
Christ.
Jerry Lewis. That's over the top.
No idea. But like that age is so far beyond, you know. And Data wouldn't get it either. It's like,
yeah, I can see you not getting Jerry Lewis. It's almost out of my time wheelhouse.
Yeah, it just feels like they really kind of gimmicked themselves into a corner here.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's relatable, the comic, but he falls flat, I think, in general. Except for the point when he's with Data on stage and Brent gets to have fun, but they stop too soon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, what do you think about this whole scene?
Like I said, it's ultimately forgettable. Mainly because I know the name of the comedian, but I haven't really seen much of what he's done. Even back in the day, I can remember this being like next time on TNG, guest star Joe Piscopo. And it's like, all right, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Who's that?
I think I've heard the name before.
It sounds like it sounds like a baseball player or something. But yeah, I knew he was a comedian. It's just, I've never watched any of his stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
But the conversation's pretty good that they have. Him trying to explain, what funny is to Data.
His acting is better than his comedy. I'll give him that, which I think deserves some respect because he pulls the scene off, and there's a wonderful like fourth wallness to him, sort of knowing it's a holodeck simulation, but also no, not quite. So I appreciate the tone they have here.
Yeah, but they needed somebody, I think, a little bit bigger name. And somebody mentioned Eddie Murphy.
I thought Eddie Murphy as well, actually.
Well, he was supposed to be in Star Trek 4. I don't know if you knew that. Star Trek 4
Yes.
instead of Jillian or whatever the hell her name was,
Mm-hmm.
that was going to be Eddie Murphy as the head of the Cetacean Institute that's taking care of the whales, which
Jill-
would have totally changed the feel of that movie.
Yeah,
1,000%.
Gillian would be better. Gillian did better. But I mean, hey,
Yes, oh, absolutely.
William Shatner kissing Eddie Murphy for their romance scene. I mean, because he wouldn't change the movie. I mean, Shatner can be bi, whatever. You know, alien, human, Eddie Murphy. I mean, would you turn for Eddie Murphy back then? I don't know. I wasn't alive back then.
No.
But anyway, but you don't want to blow the entire budget on that. But I'm sure if Whoopi put a call in saying, "Hey Eddie, Whoopi, hey, can you come to do one scene for free in Star Trek?" What? But that could be for anyone, you know. Anyway. And I like Data uses the very infrequently used fast forward function for the holodeck.
Oh yes.
Which I didn't know was a thing, because it's not useful for 99.9% of people.
Yeah. Well, if it's the boring part of the book that you want to skip through.
Yeah.
Like Top Gun, you know, when you're watching that, I like to skip through the stupid love scene and the, you know, don't need that shit.
Just skip right to the end. I mean, start at the start, end at the end, skip the middle. Yeah.
David Stelzer puts in $2. Watching Johnny Dangerously. Piscopo is great in it. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then he's down talking to Guinan again. He's got the cigar and he's doing the exaggerated hand movements, which in itself is funny. He does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Because Brett is a comedian.
Oh
so,
yeah.
I mean, he is funny in this for sure. But then she's like, you know, you spoil the joke. I think it could be your timing. And that's when he says, my timing is digital. And she laughs. And he's like, was that funny? Yeah, it was. He didn't even mean to be.
That was a good Whoopi. Yeah. That was a good.
Yeah.
That was a good impression.
Yeah.
Also, 135 people watching, which is pretty darn good. Thank you guys for joining. 135, but only 18 likes.
Everybody hit like 18 likes.
Seriously?
Are you kidding?
What? Let me check that. That seems absolutely ridiculous.
No, because we got 50 because Jeff already gave us chat for 50.
It's like,
we're going again at 100.
Guys,
everybody hit like.
I want to see at least 5,000 likes. Everyone create 10 alter counts.
Right?
Right now.
But no, Data gets called to the bridge, and he's like, I'll see you later. And I love the look on her face when he leaves. She's just like, an android trying to become a comedian. Oh, my life is never boring.
Yeah, and I love she says like, yep, bring new jokes. Yep.
Yeah.
Can you imagine she's lived so long, sinned so much that comedy is like she can analyze everything in a very unique way. But Data Brent's lack of comedy is genuinely endearing to the extreme. It's not always funny, but it's always like Brent did a good job in that scene. He nailed an android trying to do this, you know. Like let's say the hand movements, he's just doing it even though you're not trying to keep doing it. He doesn't understand the point of doing it for effect. He's just doing it on automation. No, it's good. It's clever. And at this point, I'm still very like the two plots work like in unison. They're the payoff, but then it kind of starts swapping. So I think this is the last scene before they go back to the comedy.
Yeah, and you forget about it
completely.
You absolutely forget about it. Yeah,
That's really
what I mean. This whole
away.
episode is just me forgetting what's happening because it's like
it's the editing. Seriously, like they should have brought Data back into the situation. I have no idea how they could bring a comedic android into the situation, but they had to have that pay off somehow.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Anyway, Data goes to the bridge, and there's an incoming Class 7 interplanetary ship with a complement of 26 crew. We get the classes because the other one was like Class 5.
So I guess they just have galactic standard classes?
I guess. But this is the Merchantman. Is it supposed to be the Merchantman, or is it just the reuse?
Well, the fact...
Because... I mean, we see it in Star Trek 3, so it would be cool if it was the same kind of ship, but... I don't think it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be this specific planet's ship. So
you get a real sense that because there's such a reuse of ships that there's just like a generic cargo ship that species of warp capableness just buy. Like there's some interplanet like buses are very similar across the world, right? There's just some ship manufacturer that sells a bit ships to planets. But they work, and that's why someone share designs, which I think is interesting. And why, like the Ferengi, why the hell wouldn't the Ferengi just go to planets and say, I'll sell you the best ship I've ever seen for 14 gold plus platinum. Yay. But it's really only worth
Paul's
one.
cough drops, everyone.
Go. But I think they're trying to make it the least merchant possible by starting at the bottom, because only at the end does it have the same silhouette. I think that's intentional. The fact is, we are very, very ship guys. But you can imagine, if you hadn't seen Star Trek 3, this would be a nothing. If you've seen it once in the cinema, you probably wouldn't remember it. You know what I mean? Because years have passed and whatever, you know? Yeah. Oh, yeah, and more lasers.
Yeah.
Lasers?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is where they're locking lasers onto us. Picard's like,
what?
Do they realize lasers won't even penetrate our navigation shield? Or don't... Yeah. Sorry, he says lasers won't even penetrate our navigation shield. Don't they know that?
Yes,
Captain,
they do.
I suggest yellow alert. Agreed, but drop the main shields as well, in case we decide to surrender to them, number one. And number one has a bit of a smile on his face, and Worf's like, I'm not impressed. Shouldn't be dropping shields.
Yep.
Could be a trap. It's like, chill out, Worf.
And that's how you do good character lines inside of a main story.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so the guy comes up on screen and he's like, prepare to be boarded. It's like, really?
Well, no. To be fair, he's like, you're in our space. We haven't asked you here. Federation have no jurisdiction. We sort of demand that you lower shields and we'll board you. It's not that aggressive way. It's just like, you know, you are not meant to be here. We have all the rights. You don't. Which I thought was interesting because we never get that sense as they fly through people's space that they have like, they be everywhere. But there must be like pockets of like Federation planets and like this massive dot like thing where most places aren't part of the Federation because I guess why not? But or are most people part of it? I don't know. It creates an interesting like dynamic there.
It does. Kind of like the British Empire taking over all these continents and saying, "Oh, your village is ours. You know, you've never seen us before. How you doing? We're coming through. F you all." That's what the Federation does. Yep.
It was a good time.
But he says, "I want Okuna. He's responsible for crimes on Atlic." But I made a note here that him on screen, just with the way he looks, the way he moves, the way he talks, and his background, I wrote, seems like a video game cutscene from the 90s. Like a full video, motion video cutscene.
Yeah, I know what you
mean. It's very weirdly done.
Well, it's the flat plane approach. It's like person on background, flat, talking at camera for a bit, being overacting.
Yeah, and the acting wasn't like superb or anything. So
well, it's posturing. I bought it because I mean he has nothing here. He hasn't got speed, strength, movability. Like he has absolutely nothing. He has to bluff his way into anything, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So I get exactly why. Although, did you notice that this is just the battle bridge? They've redressed the view screen.
Yeah.
That I was like, wait a minute. Because you can imagine, though, the amount of times they just really paint and they just turn the camera to 1 inch, just a battle bridge, and there's a little bit of a red paint. It's like, oh, no. Jerry, to the left. Okay, yeah, there we go, we're framed in.
Yeah.
And then to the side of the battle bridge is still the Star Trek 2 bridge, because we're still using that. So it's like there's levels of paint as they're not using it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we get another vessel, a security vessel from Straleb coming in. And Worf's like, oh, another glob fly.
Yes.
Oh, it's a bug. It's half the size of a mosquito. Yes, Mr. Data, shut the fuck up.
And it makes a noise like, good. It's good.
So Worf's like, oh, these guys are annoying. You know, just pestering them.
And again, I love the lighting here. This is a much better done background. This
doesn't feel like a 1990s video game cutscene.
Feels like a 2000s cutscene where the lighting's better.
Feels like a Star Trek Next Generation Alien of the Week cutscene.
Have you seen the Command and Conquer Tiberium franchise cutscenes with the red?
No.
Incredibly similar. This could literally be one of those. Same with the uniforms. I mean, it is very. It's like we're putting enough effort into the frame, but then again, left. But instantly, the fact there's a kid there, I'm like, oh. I don't remember the plot for this. It's like, oh, no,
Yeah.
the kid.
And the way he's acting with what the dad's saying, he's like,
Yeah.
And later he actually grabs him, but yeah, they're also demanding to hand over Okuna.
Although, did you notice he said, we're monitoring your transmissions? I'm like, so they clearly much less advanced can just listen in to open channels, but is that just default that you can just listen in if you're close enough? Is that what they're saying?
They're not secured channels, I guess. So yeah, everybody can tune in. I would assume. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, Picard's like, get Okuna up here.
Mute. The mute button's real important in this episode.
They used it 3 times in this one.
Yeah.
Mute.
Yep.
And then later they use a conference call.
Yeah.
They actually call it the conference mode.
Yep.
And it's like, very cool, very cool. But yeah, Okuna is not responding, but he's been reported being seen in 3 different crew quarters. And it's like, Worf, go get him. And Worf's like, yes, sir. Worf's like, very determined.
And the music has some of the Klingon riffs, and he's so focused. It's like a Klingon he is focused on a mission. Gonna stop a guy getting laid.
When the episode started, there was that Starfleet motion picture, little bit of music in the intro, like the opening scene.
Yeah.
And it's like this one, when he was walking through the hallway and I heard that Klingon riff, I'm like, are they trying to establish a Worf theme that they're going to be using throughout the entire rest of the series that just never went anywhere? Because it felt like they're trying to give a theme for every character.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. But it's actually a fun little moment, and to see him walk through every bit of set they have, every long corridor stretch they have in one go is like, that's it. That's all they have.
Yeah, it kind of was more padding for the episode though to extend the runtime.
But it was a good Worf, like surprisingly good for Worf. Like you felt what he was feeling, and again, he's doing the job he should be doing. They give it like, can you imagine Tasha watching this, Denise Crosby being like, he's had 5 episodes, he's had like 12 lines, I had 3. Yeah, But I guess I'm also thinking we paid a lot of money for him at a day rate to be in this makeup. Like a third more than Denise. He'll do the grunt work.
Yeah. But he finds him in the quarters of another crewman.
Who looks a lot like a young version of Pulaski from TOS, I felt.
Yeah. I love how the look she gives Worf, though. Like, Worf is technically, he's bridge crew. He, she knows who he is. She shouldn't be kind of snarky with him, even though she's off duty or whatever. Unless she outranks him or something. It's never really said because she's out of uniform, but...
Said she's third in command secretly.
Yeah. It's just kind of a weird scene.
Well, it's doubly weird because he walks in, the door was not locked, he walks in without bleeping, without doing security override, so she didn't lock the door. They clearly just finished doing it because she's wearing what she's wearing. So she's just like, I guess I was done. I'm also like, it's like an 80s censored version, even though there's more damaging context than there should be. Like, it should have been Billy Lib, security override, and she wraps the robe over and looks like Mr. Worf, and then the director's like, damn it, gotta pay her, shit, gotta pay the extra, damn it, because that's why she didn't talk. It feels so she doesn't talk, but they gotta pay her if she talks, like more, a lot more. Yeah. This is the scene though. I like though that we see other quarters, because we only ever see the main like top tier quarters, which is like the captain and all the officers. This is obviously the lower end quarters, which is just a box room with a bed and some chairs. This is the average quarters. It's just a little box room. That I thought was really kind of an interesting precedent I never even realized before. Because I mean the main captain's quarters, because it's the same reuse set. That's why everyone has the same quarters. Pretty spacious. This is not. So I like seeing the differential there. Small thing. But
anyway, they go up. Yeah. They go up to the bridge, and he's like, I don't know why they'd want me. Knowing full well, you can tell by the way he's saying it that he obviously does. But Oh, this is his first introduction to Captain Picard too. He goes to shake his hand. You must be Captain Picard. And of course, Picard's like annoyed at this point. He's annoyed as well. That was a joke. Supposed to laugh.
Sorry, I wasn't. I was reading the chat.
It's okay.
What did you say? Sorry.
Well, it's the first time he's met Picard. He puts out his hand to shake his hand, and by this point, Picard's annoyed, much like Guinan. And he just doesn't shake his hand. He's like, "Mind telling me why these people are here looking for you?"
Yeah.
I have no idea. Let's put everybody on the viewer. Let's get this sorted.
But which one, sir?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The first one. I don't know.
You're right, because he says, "Put them on the viewer," and Worf's like, "Which ship?" The first one, Captain Devon.
I really hoped Worf would say, "No, sir, that was Captain this." He's like, "I don't care. Do it." That would have been a perfect follow-up. Because he doesn't have to remember everything, you know.
Yeah.
No, I really like this scene. This script is really solid. This writer understands these characters. And they go through the motions a bit, but I'm kind of surprised that Picard didn't shake his hand. That's un-Picardy, but I like the power play there. Because he's not unfriendly. He's not mean. And there is a weird neutrality here that you don't often see because they always side with the side. Or there's an emotional complex. I think that's just because they couldn't have time for that in the story. But also, I know I knew what was going to happen, but the way Okuna sort of says, I can't tell you, it feels actively like, I'm sorry, it's not my fault, rather than, I'm not going to tell you, Picard. I'm thinking Picard must pick up on that, like, he's not... This is a weird way of... Like, I'm approaching him, he's saying, I can't tell you. Sorry. I want to... Yeah. Like, he must be sensing that body chemistry, because the way Picard treats him is very unique, because it's as if the plot knows, or, it's just... I don't know. But I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
Well written.
So they pull up the first viewer again. You see the guy like doing this, and I think this is why I think this looks like an '80s cutscene, because the part behind him looks like 8-bit because of the grading and the colors. Maybe that's why. Anyway, that's just the vibe I get.
Yeah.
But we find out that his daughter's pregnant, and that it's Okuna's fault. Got her pregnant, and then the other ship is hailing, and Picard's like, "All right, that's it, conference mode." And this is the first time we've seen this, where it goes split screen.
Yep. It's great.
Yeah. It is pretty cool.
And it's funny because I forgot this was in TNG, but they do it in DS9, and I had to look at DS9 because it's in Convergence, the exact same sort of thing. But it's nice to see this is the precedent 10 years earlier, which was fun. Yeah.
But the other side is claiming that he stole a jewel.
Yes.
He used my son to plunder a national treasure. Well, he used my daughter, got her pregnant.
Yeah, I mean, this is when you're like, oh, it's just Romeo and Juliet, isn't it? Like at this point, it's incredibly blatant, the setup. Just by the sheer strength they're trying to put out there about it. Yeah, it's a bit telegraphed. I like the twist that Okuna isn't a bad guy. That at least is a good twist. It would, he's not the rogue that you think he is, but it would be nice to have like a tertiary twist.
I like how they're all bickering and Picard's like, for the third or fourth time in this episode, just mute. And they I don't think they can hear each other at that point either, because they eventually just stop talking and like kind of look,
I assume they would hear each other because they're just muting their own.
That's audible. What I thought too. Yeah. Kind of like when I do this and mute you. I'm not going to mute myself. They're still entitled to hear me.
We muted each other.
I can't hear you. So,
Stuart, I just muted you on the live stream, and I just muted him, so you actually can't hear what he's saying, but I can. That's funny. Ha. Okay, you're not.
I mean, I can pretend to be talking. It's easier than actually talk. No, it's not. I don't know why I did that.
This cutoff was brilliant. It's such a characterful moment. This writer, there's so many good little moments that are so intuitive to the scene.
Yeah, Yeah.
Like, there's continuously good moments. But it is because it's padding. But they've got room to breathe, you know, room to breathe, and that's it. It's, you know, we don't complain, but we comment when there's not enough character stuff. We comment when there's too much. So it's a very fine balance. Obviously, it just also depends how good the A plot is, how strong that is.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's tricky. Let me see who wrote this episode though, because I wanna see.
Okay. Well, Jaddock Productions puts in $2 Australian. Oh God, it's almost Laurel and Hardy. I think you know, if you're talking about the Piscopo scenes later, but
let's see. I don't know, is it teleplay? Is it gonna be? Okay, it's just teleplay by so Burton Aramis.
Is it Aramis? It's the one that killed.
It is.
What?
He did the 10 episodes of Airwolf as a producer. He wrote for Tarzan, Dragonnet. He wrote A Matter of Honor. That was also smart. There's only 2 TNG. Huh. Still, I mean, yeah, okay. Cool for him. And
anyway,
guys, we're 8 away from 100 likes.
What?
Only
135 of you. Come on, everybody hit like.
Come on.
Hit like. We're not going to talk again until we get 200.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. Anyway, Picard ends the transmission.
Yeah.
And they go into his ready room. And he's like, you know, this is not my jurisdiction. I can't really get involved, but you're in my custody. So this makes it a little bit problematic for me. And the Okuna's like, well, you know what? Just here, do what you said you were going to do. Fix my ship and let me go.
Yeah.
And I'll handle it. I'll be out of your hair.
Well,
not that you have any, but so seems like a good idea. Picard's like, all right, cool. I'll agree to that. I think Picard can tell he's not a bad guy. You know, Picard doesn't treat him like he's a bad guy at all.
Did that not feel a little bit out of place considering other episodes?
The situation.
Yeah.
It does a little bit. Yeah.
Because he just was told he's a thief of a massive national treasure and got a girl pregnant. Although they do actually have an interesting beat with Troy saying outdated social constructs we've long since abandoned of marrying someone who you've knocked up.
Yeah.
Or being forced to. So I guess, but I'm sure children are a super choice in the future. You know what I mean? You could take like a hyperspace of having kids any day of the week or a month or like, I'm sure it's extremely choice based. So the idea of having to force to do something is weird.
Yeah. Well,
oh no! Hold on, you have gone away.
Got away. Okay. Smirk.
Now you're back. Sorry, that felt important.
Troy had a few reactions during the conversation where she had a smirk or here and there, but she never actually said anything to Picard. Like they're actually all telling the truth.
It's true.
Even Okuna, by not saying anything, like she'd be able to sense something. There should have been a scene with her kind of talking to Picard, saying, "I don't know what the situation is, but." And
to be fair, no, keep going. Let me finish.
No, just everybody seems to have like noble intentions. You know, they all, you know, one's standing up for his daughter and what happened to her. The other one, you know, thinks that his son was used for the steel to be stolen. And Okuna, he's just kind of like, I sense a bit of conflict, but no malice at all. Yeah. I
mean, Troy is a massive discontinuity machine when it comes to what she can and can't do. Because that's actually quite a good way of saying it. Based on that, what you just said, she should instantly be able to see, oh, that's weird. Both his son, his daughter, feeling criminally nervous and both hiding something. That's weird.
Well, anybody should have been able to see that from the way the son was acting when the father was talking. He even grabbed his arm at one point.
But the context of saying the other two all three tell the truth, but these two are feeling uncomfortable, that should be some sort of clue. You know, everyone in this six-way conversation, Captain, only the kids are feeling weird. But I mean, I still have a slight problem. How can she get emotions through a view screen?
Yeah, I know.
Because you're not close. You're not in contact. I'm guessing. Like, I wish they'd said at one point she can't read emotion. She can read body language. Like, she can read the surface level stuff, because then anyone could do that. She's just more attuned to it. But I don't. How? I never got that. I never got that. You know, it doesn't connect to me logically.
Yeah, I know.
I guess the view screen is just such a good projection that maybe more data's coming through.
Yes.
But that's a real effing stretch, you know, and it isn't an effing window. But yeah, I did think it was a bit weird how Picard was so allowing him to explain. Because he didn't. He should have walked in and said, "Mr. Okuna, did you steal this thing?" But Okuna has to say, "Oh, by the way, I didn't steal it, just for the record." Because any other episode, Picard would say, "Well, it's my jurisdiction, but it's my job to arbitrate." But this one is like,
he doesn't even. He even says, "I can't. I don't want to arbitrate."
It's weird. It's like I'm not. You know what? I'm not in a Federation-y mood today. I'm just gonna be
having a bad day. Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't care day. It's like, you know what? You do you. I'm not gonna enforce any justice. I'll even fix his ship. Although I love how he says, you know, they can catch you instantly. He's like, I'll take care of myself. I'm thinking, yeah, to be caught.
Yeah.
Although later on, the guy's like, the son says, oh, I was hoping my dad would never catch you. And he's like, oh, he never would. It's like, but your ship's slower. He could catch you. I mean, they were not very far behind you, clearly. Whatever. Some bad dialogue, whatever.
Yeah.
But this is also when Okuda becomes the least important part of the story.
Yes.
He's now just window dressing, which contextually just feels wrong, I think. Now I've gone through it with you. It's like, and not important.
You
know?
Interestingly enough, he goes down to engineering to find out if the part's done. And you can see like a security guard there, standing there with his arms crossed. They're being watched now, at least. So that's very subtle. Not a lot. I didn't notice it those other times I watched it, but...
Yep. Yeah, I was kind of hoping he would say, but is that really necessary, Geordie? He's like, hey, Cam's orders.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's also good.
And he has a little bit of a conversation with Wesley. He pulls out the jewel thing and then puts it back. But conversation about where Wesley's like, I couldn't do what you do. I couldn't live. You know, Riker said the life you live is your choice, but I couldn't get used to leaving my family and friends.
Unless they get fired and are forced to leave me.
Yes, exactly.
And Dan 23 has an interesting comment that I want to address. Deanna Troi can get emotions through a view screen, and Darth Vader can choke you through a view screen or holographic communication. Difference being that Vader is controlling, is tweaking midichlorians in the Force in another part. It's irrelevant to how close, far, whatever. You can pull down Star Destroyer from space. Distance is not really, that's the point. Distance isn't matter. It's controlling the matter, whereas Troi isn't sent, like, there aren't, you're telling me psychic waves are coming through several thousand miles, through shields, through Hull, into her brain. If that was the case, everyone everywhere would always be in her brain. Like, you pass my planet, oh my god, I see, sense 9 billion, you know what I mean? It's a little bit different.
Jeff Jacobs puts in $2. 100 again at 150. Massive discontinuity machine. It's brilliant.
Now, also, did you think that when he pulls out the thing, that Wesley should be like, "Wait, what's that?" Like, there's no reason to think he knows why he stole it, but if he stole it, but it's like, oh, look, he did steal it.
I thought that for a second, but he pulled it out. Wesley was behind him, and when Wesley came up like here, not really, she was still beside him. He had it covered with his hand. It wasn't in the pocket yet.
Yeah.
So it worked out fine. It was just like could be a time-telling device, you know.
Yeah.
It could be a watch.
Yeah, space watch.
Who knows? Who knows? And I don't think Wesley's he wasn't on the bridge at the time. He wasn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't have all the facts. Anyway, Geordi fixes the thing and hands it to him, and this is all fixed. You can have it installed in about 5 minutes.
Did you see it spins again? It spins.
Yes.
Very important. It spins.
It's fancy.
Yes.
But he's like, no, I changed my mind. Time to make a stand.
Yeah. It was a very quick traversal, but since he just had to talk it through with the people, because they did say later on, if you gave the thingy to the dude to give to the girl, then the marriage is already committed. So running would not help that. You know what I mean? Like his first plan doesn't really do anything. But we could not know that plot yet. I don't know. And just to say, this model shot, while I appreciate the effort, the Enterprise is really poorly lit. It just looks flat and crap.
Season 2, man. Season 2.
Oh, yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
But he comes on the bridge and he says, "I decided to surrender myself."
They're like,
Picard.
"Oh, what?"
Yeah.
Oh.
Picard's like, "Well, hey guys, how's it going? Listen,
Camp 30 here for track yards. That's what you say.
I think we'd all be more comfortable if you guys just came over here and we all talked face to face. Let's get this sorted." And then they go to Deck 14 conference room, which is the same room they used in the neutral zone with the frozen people.
Yes.
Which we don't really see again unless they, not in that form anyway. They must redress the room because.
Yeah, I was confused here because like you have the conference room.
Yep.
Like that's the obvious place. Like I'm guessing because the them walking around is important. They couldn't be sitting down. They were like, yeah, but everyone needs to move around in the scene, so we can't be sitting. Whereas if it's just a passive scene, because it just felt so weird.
Be too, because when the ships came in, they locked lasers on them, so it was kind of hostile. You don't want them right near the bridge, maybe.
Yeah, but you just put force fields up, and they can't get through them. Like I thought that too, but I mean, this is a ship that can absolutely do anything. Compared to them, they can do enough safety measures, I'm sure, to stop them from going through one door and also disarming everyone. Yeah. But I think it's just because they have to walk around a bit. And I knew at this point I knew exactly the plot. You can tell. So when they beam in, I'm looking for the two, and you got a good bit of them locking eyes, the two kids, but it is very subtle. It's very underplayed. I was waiting for this thing, but they really keep it under wraps, even though you would think they would at least be nice to see you or something. But they do want to keep that in case you haven't worked it out yet.
But I love how Okuna's like, well, I have two options essentially.
Yeah.
Be condemned as a thief or marry the beautiful Yanara. I will take the better option. Take her as my wife. And then the kid's like, you can't. My son is right. You can't escape that way. That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
I love how the son even says that's not what I meant. Yeah. I enjoyed this scene actually. And that's when he says, nothing has been stolen. The jewel has been taken into the custody of its rightful owner. It was taken by me. I'm going to give it to her as a pledge of my marriage. A pledge of marriage. That's my baby. That's me baby back ribs. Anyway, yeah. And then it's just a typical tale as old as time thing. Why did you say that the baby was Okuna's? Because if I had told you the truth, you would have gone to war with them. So you let me chase Okuna. Yes, because I knew you would never catch him. And Okuna's like, well said, and you never would have. Except my ship broke down. And then you find out that he's actually been carrying messages back and forth for them for 6 months, and he's even smuggled each of them into the other's homeland, so they could visit each other. So he's kind of just been helping out these star-crossed lover kids, being a good guy, I guess. Probably taking all their money in the process. But he gives them the whole, you guys love each other, so be together.
Yeah,
it's like summation.
It's a weird kind of reversal. Like I say, it feels weird that this guy becomes both important but also simpler. This Okuda guy is like, and he's just been the ferret. Although I appreciate that you don't, even though he's not disingenuous, you don't get the sense he's looking to settle down. But he's not just a player. Like, he's a weird hybrid. So therefore, to then find out that he's been doing this, obviously he's getting paid, but he's been helping his two lovers, is like, no, he's actually a romantic at heart. That's a nice little,
Yeah.
But I wish he was more active in the situation. But it's a good scene. It's a good mediation. It's very by the books, although it it struck me in this first scene, the fact that everyone talks about her getting married, but she never expresses any love for the guy or any sort of any emotion towards him. So you kind of like, oh, is this just a like a forced 80s because girls like to marry people sort of vibe? Like it's like she'll marry who I say she'll marry. But she'll marry me, and it's like, why am I marrying anyone, for fuck's sake? It kind of felt that weird context shift. Next scene, she really it doubles down on that, but it would be nice to have that in this scene. She's like, really?
Well, I just love how Okuna looks at Picard and says, "You see how a man gets a reputation." Like he wasn't stressed about the situation ever, really. He's just like, things happen. And then when the story comes out, the look on Troy's face is actually kind of priceless. It's very subtle, but it's like yeah. We've all heard this story. But yeah, I think the scene is actually pretty good. Oh yeah, I forgot all about this. There's more because we're back at the holodeck.
I mean, you already forgot about the forgetting about it. This is such a long sequence of this stuff, and then it just cuts. It's like, what?
Yep.
Yep. And this is nothing to do with anything. It really pulls you out of it. I mean, like, so much. It's kind of absurd.
And I think that's why the story gets lost and why I lock onto the comedian aspect when I hear this title. Because all the dramatic stuff that just happened is like, what? Now it's like, I don't know.
It's almost erased in terms of build-up. Seriously. Yeah. It was getting somewhere. And then it just wipes away. And this scene is fine. But it's tonally wrong. This should have been like split to two and put in between if you have to.
Well, this scene should have come after the ready room scene. Before he went down to engineering.
Ready room scene?
When he was talking to Picard about
ready room, yeah. Ship. I thought
then this should have came, and then he should have went to engineering. But because Data was on the bridge the whole time, the editors were going, "Shit, we can't do that."
That's true.
That's exactly why. I guarantee you.
Very true.
But yeah, that would have been much better then, and not tucked in right after this massive reveal and all that.
I love that. It's so smart. God, that's smart. Because sometimes, because I believe I've heard something that occasionally in TNG they actually swap B stories between episodes because it just works better.
Yeah.
Because this could be, I guess they could, but almost beyond this point it could be any episode. But yeah, this really this damages the episode no end. Although I do think if they just kept telling that same story, when we get back to it in a minute, there's no real it's not forced drama, it's just like by the book drama, so it doesn't really ramp in any sort of satisfying way. So it'll just be like, okay, more, and done. So okay, well there you go, that's that plot. So the breaks do help. If it was something like you almost needed like a third person to come in, like another ship. Can you imagine if he cuts to the bridge, another ship comes in, and he's like, I need a CUDA for something else, and he's like a tactical threat, and then we cut back to these people and they're bickering while the ship's being, ruckusing a bit, and it's like, what the hell is going on here? And they, it amps it up a bit, like it moves a Klingon or something, because he had a specific, look against Worf, nothing personal, just maybe he's had run-ins. That would have been kind of cool to see a bird of prey decloak and start something. Bit more of a budgety thing, but yeah, it does kind of fall apart in the third act a bit. Although I'd love to try and edit, because you could just re-edit them whole cloth. I haven't really got time to re-watch it, but maybe I'll re-edit it, send it to you, and you tell me what you think. Although just move it around.
Yeah, I'm sure it could be done.
Yeah, easy.
I just know because Data was on the bridge, they can go, okay, he was on the bridge, and then he was down here, and then he's back on the bridge. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's really clever.
But yeah, he introduces Guinan to the comedian, and they ask for an audience for the holodeck, and then all of a sudden we're back to.
Oh god, yeah, it was that quick, wasn't it?
Yep. Anyway.
Yeah.
And this is where he's like, yeah, I've been taking messages for you guys back and forth. I've smuggled you guys into each other's, homelands for 6 months now. You know that you love him. You know you want to get married to him. Just get married to him. So I do appreciate his heart of gold as most rogues have, you know. um, just an overall nice guy.
Yeah, it does make him much more relatable. Like,
Yeah.
I think as the episode grows, you really just like him more and more because he's justified more and more with who he is and what he is. And he's allowed to be a woman's man. That's fine. Some women are women's men. Like, you know how Worf's baby mama is a bit of a nice lady. I feel like she's quite a fun flirt in scenes. Like, if she could go on a stage and just meet like 5 guys, why not? You know, plays off like whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. On your planet. I cut out there, didn't I? All right, cool. Uh, this is when the bickering starts of where are you gonna live? Oh well, my grandson's not gonna be raised on your planet, and again, Troy's got that look on her face like, it's just the petty problems of life. This is all so much better now. That Junkman is here, $2. Oh my God, the Joe Piscopo episode. Welcome, Junkman. I don't know if you guys ever watch the Junkman. He does Star Wars videos and he's great. So go subscribe to the Junkman right now, everybody. I want to have him on actually on one of my late night lives to have an interview with him because I enjoy all of his content and we've been talking back and forth on Twitter, and I keep forgetting to get him on the show because I'm so busy.
I mean, well, if he's a Star Wars guy, we could bring him to do some Star Wars ship discussion or stuff. It'd be fun.
Yeah, I've been on his channel a few times. So,
nice.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome, Junkman.
Hello. But yeah, it's a nice enough scene, and at least you now feel like she loves him. Like they kind of lose it all in one scene, double down the other scene.
Yeah.
And I do like this imagery at the end here is great with Picard in the middle and.
Yeah.
This is why I say it's a good Star Trek story in the sense this is exactly how it should have been handled, peacefully, properly, positively. Like this is how you want it to be handled, and Picard was great. You know?
Yeah. You got to appreciate the blocking. This is where the tape's on the floor, because they got to stand in the right spot so that they're in between the other characters. That's all I thought when I saw them walk behind and line up perfectly. It's like, ugh.
I also like the subtlety of holding the baby. I didn't like that's a. Because you're not focused on that, but it's a nice little touch of intimacy that is like, subtle. And then you get to the comedy club, and it's his
cringy.
Yeah, I was about to say it's not actually cringy, but his intro is like it's like the comedian knows, and
he's really great, guys. He's really awesome. Trust me.
It's cringe, but and also, did you notice he is actually wearing the jacket over his full uniform?
Yeah, I did notice that. I saw the yellow sleeves.
It's really subtle, but it makes him look lanky because it does completely change his frame. It's really nicely done. Because you wouldn't think to do that, but it would make sense. And he goes out, and I love Brent's acting here. It really makes me feel so genuine for him. Because it goes downhill so quick, and by the end of this scene... I'm like, you've just made an android the most relatable man in the world, and I feel so damn sorry for him. That was really well played, show. Like that is crisp writing. What did you
see the? Yeah, I agree. You see the realization in Data when he makes a hand movement, and all of a sudden it's like and he's like,
yep,
and then he just starts, and he's like, yeah, you can really get you feel bad for the guy. But I would have just said, computer, please program a more realistic audience, but not just a laugh club audience.
But then that's the whole point, isn't it? It's either funny or it isn't, but that's not what it is. It's funny from people. Then you're saying a randomization. Some people laugh, some people don't. You know that's I think the whole point of this episode, in a sense, is that he can't be funny if he's trying to be funny because he's just doing the ones and zeros. Only when he can just be, can he be funny? To which he is throughout the show, but it's unintentional, which is unfortunate in a sense. But this is a computer or algorithmic thing. Although I liked way earlier, Guinan says, "You're a computer. Maybe you need a smarter computer than you to teach how to be funny."
Yeah, so he goes to the holodeck. Yeah,
but I mean, he's a pretty damn smart computer. But this shows that even with a smart computer, it can't make an audience that like logically moves. But I love just the acting of Brent. Like he is on fire in this episode, as again keeping Data at the foremost. He's doing his voices, see, but he's always doing it kind of a exaggerated way, and then it swaps back to Data, and he gives up on that, and it's just Good scene. It's just sad, honestly.
Yeah.
And just gets quiet. And he's like, "This was a shame. Stop program."
Yeah. I'll remove audience. Remove comedian. And such an. It's just like no goodbye to the comedian. It's just like, yeah. Nobody.
And Jordan Shred. Somewhat off topic, but I'd like to ask the commander why he blurs his background lately. Well, Hayes answers straight away, but simply that this webcam is amazing and expensive, sort of, and sometimes, as you can see today, it hasn't been, and it's kind of like 50% of the time, it flashes green. And if it does, I can alleviate the symptom, not the problem, by blurring the background, which is a Skype feature, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does, and it's kind of an expensive thing to replace. But meaning to get replaced, but it's like it's weird. I got a new cable, they didn't fix it. We had bad luck with webcam stuff, like seriously.
Yeah. It's mine when I first got this exact same model that he has did the exact same thing. It would actually do it worse. It would clip screen, and then the bottom part of the screen would be all pixely and
unusable.
Anyway, we got it sorted now, so.
But I gotta.
But if I disconnect it and reconnect it, the problem comes back. Remember, we had to deal with it like twice. Anyway,
so we do apologize. Obviously, the background's there to be seen, but appreciate the fact they've had 1,000 episodes with it in it. Just a couple have blurry. I'm quite small anyway. It's fine. And guys, please do super chat, guys. We haven't had super chat in a little while. We do rely on you guys' support, so anything is great. Comment, question, thought, and we. Wait, how many likes are we actually at? Because
I don't know. But while you're looking,
104, few. Okay, 'cause it didn't refresh with me. Okay, good.
Well,
Few.
Let's get to 120 at least. 146 of you here. Let's do it. Fleet Pot Swiftback. Step out for a few minutes, gents. But 100 likes. Hashtag like spike. Hashtag make Jeff pay. Hashtag data learning humor. Thank you, Fleet Pot. Much appreciated.
Yes.
And then we get to the end of the episode, and it's like, hey, see you later, Okuna. Have fun. Hakuna Matata. Ha, ha, ha.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then Wesley's like, goodbye. Say goodbye, Data. Goodbye, Data. Ha, ha, ha. Was that funny? Oh, yes. And then the access is the first time it was used. And then, take my wharf, please. And I like how Riker's like, should we go to warp, sir? And Picard's like, yes. And I'm thinking the whole time he's still going to be on the bridge.
Yep. Does not solve the problem at all. But he's just thinking, Captain, yes, Riker? Should we close the episode? Yes, we should. Quickly, close the episode. Okay, phew. And cut. Phew.
Who's on Science Station 1? Hit that roll credits button. All right, cool.
And they all start, and the Plastic just comes out. Plastic just comes out with bottles of booze because now the credits are rolling. It's like, that was a good show, guys. Well done, everyone. Right, I'll see. We go back to my quarters. But this scene's quite nice. Although it made me laugh in two ways. So they say bye. He's like, bye, everyone, and then Wesley's like, bye, and he's like, I don't care who you are. I forgot your name. Thanks for everything, mate. Thank you, officer, grey person. I just thought that was really kind of cringe in itself.
Yeah.
Weird choice. But I did laugh at the data line. I legit laughed. I was like, yeah. We've done that a billion times. That's just a Trekkiel's joke as well.
Yes.
Or just a joke, as some might say. It's just a general joke.
Yeah. That's it, guys. That's the outrageous Okuna.
But I think, honestly, he's not that outrageous.
Nope.
I think that was a slight mischaracterization of his character.
That's also why when I hear this episode title, I think of the comedian aspect. You expect a comedian to be outrageously funny or whatever. I just don't link it with that character, unfortunately. And I think it's because when I was young and you see the next week on Joe Piscopo joins the crew and blah, blah, they focused a lot on that on next week. Those things stick in my mind, especially because I was impressionable and young. And so that's what I think of when I think of this episode.
Yeah, the trailer for it is like, and a guy comes aboard and Joe Piscopo's in the episode, everyone, yay! And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, that's half the trailer, cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, If it gets people in, who cares? Can I be bold, Stuart, and say that after this long conversation, you like the episode more than when we started?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, you kind of swayed me a little bit, but it's still forgettable. You might have bumped it up a point or two in my.
That's good. That's all fair with me.
But it's just an old story that's just, you know.
I mean, it is. Yeah, it's an old story that isn't necessarily made better by being in Trek, but the Trek characters gave it nice bits of flair. Not to its fullest by any means, but they were allowed to do fun bits in the framework.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just do my summary.
Yeah, I'll just read my notes. Yeah, go for it. Full review, Stuart. Annual points. Oh, yeah, I've got to get the. Yeah, go on. I'll get the piece of paper up that has the points.
Just some interesting little trivia things in this. The fact that he was up for the role of Riker, didn't get it. Later becomes the Rocketeer. I actually really like the actor. I think he's a good actor. And Terry Hatcher from Lois and Clark's in this, looking mighty fine. I might add.
They clip it more makeup on her, as to show her as like desirable rather than just a generic extra. Because I mean, she's in the scenes like a hey, so therefore why wouldn't you make it look more hey?
Yeah. And also just the special guest Joe Piscopo. I mean, this is just there's so many cool little nuggets of trivia for this episode that, since it's such a forgettable episode, use those trivia questions like on people. They kind of remember the episode, but they don't remember all those little things.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot of cool stuff like that in it. As you said, it was well written, dialogue wise. But I did find a lot of padding as well. So,
but it was almost the best kind of padding though, compared to bad padding.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. It wasn't boring.
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
So,
was there any boring bits at all?
Not really.
Yeah, actually.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of the comedian, but even that was kind of funny. So, yeah, not.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you saying that, actually, because I did change my view a little bit, because it is well written, well acted, and it's paced well. So as an episode goes, it should be really great. It's just, as I said, it's ultimately forgettable in the grand scheme of things. And I don't need to watch it again. I really don't. It's just the Romeo and Juliet story, and it's like, eh. And the comedian aspect is so small. It's not even really, worth being a B plot almost. So.
Yeah. They don't even mention his name to actually get the full impact out of it. They say, load comedian. Hello, Mr. Comedian. Literally, it's like, hello, comedian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
generic comedian, man.
Also, Terry was 24 when doing this.
Wow.
Nice.
So I'm going to have to give this probably a... Oh, shit.
Oh, and Hellrats 96 don't forget the Merchantman. Because shit,
yeah.
if that ups your score, Stuart, then let it up your score.
Well, it will, because I like the Merchantman, and you don't really see much of it in this episode, but... Okay, fine. As far as season 1 and 2, or season 2 of TNG, so far, I mean, I'll give it a 6.
Okay.
As far as Trek, I'm gonna have to bump that way down to like a. I was gonna give it a 2 initially, but I'll give it a 3, just because you did kind of change my mind a little bit. It's not as bad. It's not the worst of the worst, but it's forgettable, and that's forgettable is almost worse than being a bad episode, because remember bad episodes for being bad. If they're so good, they're bad, or they're so bad, they're good.
Well,
this is just forgettable. It's just lost in the ether of Star Trek.
That is one of the problems of rating it based on your own enjoyment, because a bad episode is worse than a mediocre episode by its very definition. You just might enjoy it more. But if it's shit, it's just like, well, that was a bad script. It's just like, there should be, it should be a 1 if it's just everything's bad. But you're like, oh, that was so bad, I loved it. But that doesn't. But how could a bad bit? You know what I mean? But I agree. Yeah. Now I do ask you, because you're so sort of in between on this. If this was in season 1, what would you give it compared to the season 1 content?
I'll give it a 6 for season 2.
Yes, which we know is better than season 1.
Maybe a 6.5 or a 7 for season 1.
I'll pick, and I'll put it down. Sorry,
Oh.
just to... Yeah.
You bastard.
Yeah.
6.75.
Okay, that's fair.
That's what I won't remember at the end of the season.
Okay. See, I think the fact that characters feel so in character should make it, like, for season 1, this would have been like a, oh, cool. Yeah, that's right.
Tom T, though, puts in $5 and says, I love this episode for Terry in the red dress.
It's true.
Yes. Did O'Brien have the week off? No, he was actually just stationed in transporter room number 3. They were in transporter room number 6.
But if he had been, he would have walked up to O'Brien and said, oh, the Irish, I love the Irish. You know, I think you're the exact same scene, but with the Irish. That'd have been funny. That'd have been.
Oh, I bet you make a wicked mashed potatoes.
Hello, Roberto. He says hi. Right,
Hello.
I'll give my score if you guys want to put your scores out of 10 now, both as TNG Season 2 and in general, because it does help differentiate. And I'll give my scores, and then we'll go in straight all with the Super Chat versions and I'll with the non-Super Chat versions. So I like this episode. I think the A story is uninspired, but the moments are really rather good. It's where they just didn't have a good enough main idea, and I think Okuda, whatever his name is, Okuna, it's amazing to see him go from be the star to be the sidekick, to be the supporting act, to be the, like, oh wait, he's here too. And you only really realize it after the fact, because it goes, yeah. It just needs another draft to refine the concepts, not the script, just to bring it, because most of the time it's like, story's good, script needs a bit of work, but it's the other way around, you know?
It did need another draft of beer. Then it'd be more enjoyable.
Yeah, maybe. It's hard. I'll always give a worse episode worse marks because if it deserves it. I think this is still very average. I think average is a good word. It's just average TNG. It's like, yeah, it's good. Yeah. I mean, it feels like TNG. It feels like it could be a later season, just a boring later season. Geordie's a good part. Worf is a good part. Picard is a good part. Riker's underused, but that's fine. He still gets 2 good lines. Troy gets to do stuff every time.
Wesley even has a good part.
Wesley's used in it, yeah. Guinan's used excellently.
And no Pulaski, so that's got to get bonus points for that.
Actually, when you break it down like that, it's actually probably the most ensemble episode we've seen for a long time, because every single cast member gets used, except Pulaski.
Yeah.
Like, actually, everyone gets well used, considering how much time was given to Data.
Even the daughter was used because she was pregnant, and the son was used because he was used for the jewel. Everyone was used well.
Yeah, and both dads had their own personal vibe. Terry Hatchett got used.
Twice.
What, twice? Oh.
Well, they didn't show the scene where I snuck in later. That's...
So I'm gonna give all TNG, I'm gonna say, so I'm sorry, all TNG because it is average, but it is below average, if that makes sense. It's such a big I'm gonna say a 4, so 1 higher than you, which isn't much, but in all TNG that's still a lot of episodes it's better than. Yeah. Because in season 1, I think I would give this a 7.5 for season 1, because it is a good episode, just not brilliant, you know. But season 2 is quite strong. I'm gonna probably have to join with a 6. I can't go any higher than that, and I think lower than that is not fair, because you can still have, like, season 2, you can have 5 10s. There isn't a, like, 1 has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like, you know, the worst of the season can still be amazing. So, you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter if they all get 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. You just rank them and then whatever order of whatever. So yeah, 6 for season 2, 4 for all TNG, and 7.5. So I'm a bit higher than you, but pretty on par as well. So yeah, what do the audience say, Stuart? What do the Super Chat legends say? And then I'll jump back into the non-Super Chat people.
Fleet Pass Swiftback put in $1.99.
There you go.
5.5 out of 10 for season 2, and 3.5 out of 10 for Trek. Good pace though.
See Christopher Rollins. I can't necessarily.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okie dokie. And hi guys. So Fleet Paul, yeah. So what are the non-super chat reviews? And Tenzingari, 4 out of 10. Okuna is prime example for why it's show, don't tell. Everything about him is told, not shown. Well, I think his attitude shown to a T. Dan 23, 5 out of 10. Oh, yeah. Harold says, Okuna really feels like a character who would become recurring, like a TNG's Harry Mudd. He really would have fit on DS9. Oh, yeah. That'd be great, actually. Well done. Good call. I'm glad. Wasn't bad, wasn't great, says Lance. Hellrats, I say 6 out of 10. Story's a bit used, but there's a good trivia. Lizzie Smith, 7 out of 10. Robert Hayes, 7 out of 10. Devereaux, 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10. Christopher Rowland says the Outrageous Okuna, whatever. A comedy episode that's not funny. The Romeo and Juliet story with a Han Solo wannabe. Terry Hatcher, like the episode itself, is just there. Another waste of 48 minutes. And yet 5 out of 10, which is not as harsh as what you're saying. So you did like it enough, you just thought it was a waste. So yeah, that's a weird score to give that at that point. Team RS, 5 out of 10 for season 2, 3 out of 5 out of 10 for season 2 for Jarzia, 2 out of 10 for TNG. Not the worst, but honestly, even giving it 2 out of 10 for TNG is saying a good 36 episodes are worse, so I think it's a fitting score. I think I could think of 36 worse ones. Probably.
I don't know. It's a lot. 36 is a lot. I don't know if there's that many really worse ones in this.
I mean, over half of season 1 is like 15 of them. So you can pick 15 the rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Jeff Jacobs says 6.85 feels like good Trek. Or feels good for Trek.
It just seemed like a guest star spectacular or a launching ground for new talent, because you got Bill Campbell, you got Terry Hatcher.
It's true.
Or where comedians go to die.
Oh, wow. And it shows where if you're a megastar like Whoopi Goldberg, you can just be good.
And you can slum it with all these other people, yeah.
But I do think Data, though, he probably felt a little bit of pressure, as in Brent, because again, he's acting alongside Whoopi, that he's got to up his game. Also, we got half the episode dedicated to you. I think he did. Brent was always good, you know? He was really... I mean, you never know what good cast you have until you have it. There was a Red Dwarf American version that had 2 failed pilots.
That was awful.
Yeah, the first one they did it all at their own, and it failed miserably. Second version, they actually brought in Crichton from the original show to try and get something. Both versions had the original writer be sort of involved. Second one, he always fully wrote, but with American in mind, and they recycled a lot of their own jokes because Americans hadn't seen it. And none of the castings were particularly good. In fact, I was on Facebook and they showed like a part of the first version, and Lister actually looks very similar to this guy, weirdly. Whereas Lister had like a fun, like Geordie sense of whatever. The other guy just drably said lines that meant, you know, like Guinan said, you have a setup, a payoff, and timing. And the guy had awful timing. He sort of said stuff, and it's like, no, you did set up, wait, use it. And it's just like, this is not. These people could not be these characters. And then 15 years later, you bring back the original 4 for 4 more series, and that's the cat. Wow, he was the cat instantly. Oh my god, holy hell.
Yeah.
Shows that the right casting, boy can do wonders. So yeah.
Agreed.
All right, so I guess that is us done for the day. We're back on Thursday.
Yes, with the next episode, which is
the one with the death guy.
As loud as a whisper.
Or,
loud as a whisper.
Which I have very little memory of.
Which I remember not really liking.
Yeah.
Except for one really cool scene, but
I always watch the trailer on Blu-ray of the next episode, the old trailer, and they're the aliens. They're like Planet of the Apes characters. I was like, oh, that's shitty makeup. Jesus.
Yeah. There's some really cool effects in that one, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the disintegration that was shown.
Yeah, that's amazingly cool. That's one thing that really sticks out in my mind.
Yeah. But not the episode for me at all. Like this one stands out more for me. But that's because he's interesting. That one doesn't really. But yeah, who wants to be the final super chat of the night? Before we can pop off and do more real life things. But thanks all for joining us. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good to be back.
It is nice to be back, yes. Well, like in the old
Yeah.
routine.
We very much literally never left, but you know.
We were in different mode though. It felt different. Hold on a second. Got a bit of emergency.
Okay. Well then, guys, last super chat, and then we can pop off. Even though Stuart's emergencying. So, any last questions? For me. Yeah. Oh, we're Boston Legal's William Shatner. Weird. No, I know Andrew wasn't. I know he wasn't a Geordie. He was a Scouser. But that's all I could think of in the moment. Yeah. 5 out of 10 Gilly Gums. That's fun. Yeah. No, it's good. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed all the Picard and Discovery content. It really took a lot out of me. A lot of editing. And then Stuart is very fast approaching being in the UK. Holy hell. First time ever.
I'm back.
Hello. Just waiting for that final super chat of the night, and then we can all...
The Schizoid Man is up soon. Can't wait. Love that one. What the hell's that one? Schizoid Man. That's a data-centric one, but I can't remember what it's about. Hey, Pastor Peppas and $1.99. I'll win. Good night, Sam. Good night, Stuart. Thanks, man.
Robert Hayes, have you got your Picard talk tickets? No, we have press passes, so we don't need to have Picard talk tickets. But they sold out in the first hour and a half, so they were. Yeah, I wonder if they're announcing a thing, because it's a weird thing to announce stuff at, especially when they disrespected Vegas. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, guys, we'll see you on Thursday.
On Thursday.
So, until then.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye. Oh, so hang up on you there. Hold on. Wrong button. Bye.